Welcome to another episode of Tea Time at Physics. Today we have Claudia Moriel. She's also known as the Lite Guide, and she uses frequencies to help people heal from all different types of things. So we're going to get into a lot of discussion about what she does. So Claudia, tell us a little bit about what is exactly that you do with frequencies. First of all, why should we even care about frequencies?
Yeah, so frequency is everywhere. Like you can turn off the lights and electricity is a form of frequency. It actually has a hertz that you can measure. And so our bodies are also electric and they run off DC or direct current. And I'm always ahead of the curve, and it's gonna start to become more known how impactful frequency in the form of electrical current is to our benefit.
Yeah, just because we don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Like microwaves, for example.
Wi-Fi.
We know it works. We don't see it, but it has a profound effect. So how are you using frequencies to help people?
Yeah, so I use frequency in 3 different ways. I started with light because it was the first way I discovered it.
Right. I remember we went into a light session. Me and my wife, we went in there, and we were just blown away by what we were able to get in that session. I feel like I went out and I felt like I went through like 8 hours of sleep, even though we were only there for maybe 45 minutes to an hour.
Right.
So that was my introduction to Claudia. But yeah, go on, talk about the light.
So I first discovered light, then I discovered sound, and I started using a lot of sound. So I use a technology called NewCalm, and that was like one of the first biohacking tools ever to come out that I ever bought. I liked it so much, I bought a lifetime subscription, and I still use it to this day. So light, sound, and then my latest passion and my biggest passion is electricity. Yeah.
Okay, so how does it work? Like, walk us through maybe those 3 things.
Yeah.
Maybe start with the light.
Okay.
Like when I was there, I think I was using the Lucia light.
That's right.
And it's just, so you can imagine I'm like kind of sitting on a recliner like this, and the light's in my face, and it's kind of shooting different frequencies of light, and I close my eyes and I see these really cool like visuals, but it also does something like to help me calm down or something. I just feel different. So what was going on over there?
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun to explain. So frequency for the light flickers. So it's a flickering light. So unfortunately, nobody with any form or history of seizures or epilepsy can use it. But the light flickers at different frequencies, and it goes through and hits your pineal gland. So there's this beautiful gland in our brain that is like an antenna for different light frequencies. And what the light is doing is actually, think of a car. You know so most people don't drive standard. But if you're driving a standard, you're gonna go first gear, second gear, third gear. Our brains can work in that same way. When you're super stressed, you're in a brainwave called high beta brainwave, and your brain is revved up, your breath is short, you can't sit still, and you can't focus. You're actually in fight or flight. And when you're in fight or flight, you're not making the chemicals to create anything positive. You're making the chemicals to run fast. But we're not always in danger, so it's completely like stressful to our body. So the reason why you started feeling more relaxed and seeing all these beautiful images and fractal patterns was because I created a safe space for you where you knew nothing, no tiger, no email was gonna come through and stress you out. You knew your family was taken care of, and then I, with the light, helped you move into this beautiful brainwave called alpha brainwave. So that's like a slower gear in the car. It's a slower brainwave, but it's also a brainwave of creativity and productivity. Now, to get there takes a lot of meditation, which most people don't have the time or the training to do. So I call myself a savage meditator. I meditate like a savage, but not everybody does. So when I discovered all these techniques that help you get the effects of that, I was like, oh yeah, let's go.
Yeah, and that's why they call it biohacking, because you can get there. It's almost like a shortcut to get to that place without having to spend all the work in the meditation. And that's what it felt like. It's like I could do this, sit by myself and just try to meditate and probably get it wrong and continue to work on it for hours. Or I can use this light that can get me there a lot quicker.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what it does. And it suspends your brain in those patterns that master meditators are able to produce over a lifetime of meditation.
Wow.
That's why it feels so good.
Yeah, it feels amazing. Everyone should try it. Now, okay, so going from the light and then sound is the next set of frequency that you work with.
Yeah.
Like, how are we using sound to manipulate the nervous system?
Yeah. So very similar to the light. The sound, it's not binaural beats, it's not solfeggio tones, it's not what you see on YouTube or on Spotify. Because on YouTube and Spotify, they have to shrink the files down to fit. And so the sound is compromised in those. And it's shrunk down to like zeros and ones. So it might be having an effect on our brain. I can't guarantee that. But with Newcom, it was actually developed very scientifically, and it's neural acoustic software. So it's a software. So it's like, it kind of sounds like an MRI machine, but you can't hear it because there's music layered over it. So very similar to the light, it slows your brain waves down and suspends you in theta brainwave. So it'll down-regulate your brain waves down past alpha into theta. And it's that, didn't you say you felt like lucid once, like you were like kind of daydreaming, but in your body, but not? Yeah, so that's what Newcom does. And when you're in theta brainwave, you start kicking out all these hormones of healing to your body. And it's like you said, it's like getting 8 hours of like deep, restful sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love it because, I mean, to get that type of effect in that short amount of time is amazing.
Yeah.
And also just having, I mean, I enjoy music as well.
Mm-hmm.
So having music layer on top of that is an extra bonus.
Yeah.
So with that, with the sound, like, can you combine that with the light, or do you have to do that separately?
So a little bit, not too much. The light is super powerful.
Yeah.
Newcom is super powerful. And so the light is taking your brain into, and it's moving your brain through alpha, theta, gamma.
Right.
So it's constantly moving. And Newcom suspends you in theta. So they'd be fighting each other.
Right.
But I can use Newcom with electrical current.
Okay. And
Yeah.
that's where I think we're going to move into next. So I think we had light, we had sound, and then we have electrical.
Yeah.
So what is that part, the electrical?
So this is my new discovery, which I'm obsessed with. Like you in your practice, once you discovered what you knew worked, you couldn't do the old anymore.
Of course, you have to evolve because you take new information and you have to utilize it.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I read this book called The Resonance Effect by Dr. Carolyn McMakin. She's a chiropractic doctor out of Oregon. And she had discovered this thing called microcurrent. And so I'm reading this book, and all the science is there. You know, she's got blood tests proving that microcurrent upregulates ATP by 500%. And I'm like, wait, what? What did I just read? And like all of these case studies of like how tendons and muscles are healing faster, and how this is actually working, and how scientists are like, what are you doing? Like, these blood tests are crazy. And I became obsessed. I kind of become like a dog on a bone when I know something's gonna work. And I started reading everything I could by her, watching every podcast I could, even if I didn't understand it because it was way above my head. And then I went to massage therapy school, changed my career, flew out to Oregon, got all the machines, and it's what I've been like mostly doing nowadays. But I've started combining all the things together.
Yeah, if you ever go to Claudia's place, it's pretty much just a room full of cool different gadgets. And some cool windows too, so all the lights really get to come in.
Yeah.
So I know Shirley's been using the Healy, which is a microcurrent device, similar to what you just, you have it on right now.
I have it on right now. Right.
Yep.
It's so teeny tiny.
Yeah.
It's kicking out the current, the microcurrents for throat chakra, for the throat energy center, because we're talking. So I'm setting myself up for success to have this energy center at its peak performance.
Right, so you're setting kind of the right frequency for the right purpose of what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
I love that.
Why not help ourselves out? Why not give us that extra hand, right?
All right, so this is all cool. I mean, pretty much, I don't think any of our audience right now watching this would come across this unless they know someone like you
Correct.
who's kind of been this absolute obsessive about these things. And that's kind of what we're looking for. We're looking for people who are obsessed with what they do and bringing that out to the general audience who may not know these things exist.
Right.
But how do we get here? So tell us the story. You were a makeup artist
I was.
in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right? And then that transition over to this. So talk to us about that. What was it like in Hollywood and what made you decide to stop that path and decide to go all in
Yeah.
on the path that you're in right now?
Yeah. So I've always been really interested in health and wellness. When I was in my 30s, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, which is an underactive thyroid condition. And I was almost 200 pounds, and I actually couldn't stay awake. Like, I had to drive and snack on nuts to stay awake while I was driving because I'd fall asleep at red lights, and it was really, really stressful and really hard. And I was in my 30s, and I went to the doctor one day, and they said, "Oh, you have Hashimoto's, and now you probably have lupus as well. Like, this is just going to be your life." And for a minute, I believed them. And then something snapped inside of me, and I was like, no, this can't be my life, right? And as a makeup artist, when I first started out, I had tons of free time because I was a freelancer. And so I started doing yoga. And I started learning about supplements and naturopaths and energy healing and all of this stuff. And I started just becoming obsessed with health and wellness. And I actually healed myself of Hashimoto's through meditation. Like, I remember the moment it happened. And I felt like my whole time life and life shifted. Yeah.
Right. Talk to me more about that. Like, what was that moment like? Were you in the middle of a meditation and you felt something? Yeah?
Yeah. So I do a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza retreats and meditations. And I was at my 4th Dr. Joe Dispenza retreat. And I was in the middle of this meditation. I hadn't eaten gluten in years. I was on a strict diet. I was still super heavy. I was still tired. And my best friend was with me, so he knew me well, everything that I was going through. And I remember being in that meditation, and it was as if all the timelines, all the way to my childhood, I could see everywhere I had made food the enemy in my life. It was like a life review of some sort. Very mystical, very interesting experience. And the moment I came out of that meditation, I was starving. I couldn't get to the restaurant fast enough, and I ate the biggest, juiciest burger on a real gluten bun, and I never looked back after that. It was done. That was done. And today, you can test my thyroid function, and it's perfect.
Wait, so the moment was during a meditation, and you have this sort of like a replay of your life in your head. You woke up, got super hungry, ate a burger,
Yeah,
and that was it.
that was it.
That was
Yeah.
it. How do you respond to that? How do you make sense of that? To have something that is such a, in the Western world, a real diagnosis,
Right.
and have that no longer be the case for you, because that's
Right.
unheard of.
Right.
Because doctors are trying to find solutions for this, and they don't have a real good solution.
Right.
So what was that reaction like for you when you found out?
So I believe that we are physical beings, but that there's a greater force, that there's a greater field of information. And we think that we have to work hard and strive hard and create from this physical world. But I'm very clear that if I'm meditating and I'm in the operating system of life, I've actually been feeling lately like I'm in the operating system of life. And I know that I've changed my health in many ways over and over again from going into this operating system. And when you can feel healthy and well in that operating system, that will manifest in this 3D world.
So how do you tap into that? How can someone who hasn't gone through those years of practicing meditation,
Right.
how can they tap into that?
Right.
Or maybe they have to take that on as something
No,
that they do.
you don't, because I feel like I've been creating that space inside of what I do, right? So I feel like because I hold that so strongly and I hold that in who I am and believe in it in everything I do. And I've curated my space so dedicatedly over and over again, setting frequencies in the room, using like learning and studying. I feel like when people come in, they're stepping into that same belief system that I have. They're there because nothing else has worked, or because they're open and they're ready for change.
Right. So it seems like you have this frequency that is so strong that when someone comes into it, they get attracted into it, they get sucked into it. And I believe in that because I always said this. When I feel good, like when I feel confident, when I'm in a good headspace, when I treat clients, they get much better results.
Yeah.
And I could have treated the same client using the same exact technique,
Yeah.
and it would not work because of what's going on with me.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. I just know there's something there.
So it's something called mirror neurons. So our neurons always want to raise to the highest frequency. So my neurons will mirror somebody else's. So it's super important to be aware of the environments that you're around, of the people that you're around. They say that you're a product of the 7 books that you read and the 7 people that you hang out with. Right? So yeah, it's actually just a mirroring of what's available around you. So if you're holding that super strong, then it's going to vibrate, and other people are going to come into it. So imagine I take a tuning fork here, and it's vibrating, and I hold another tuning fork that's the same frequency to it. It's going to start vibrating as well, even though I haven't activated it.
Right. Oh, that's a super cool visual for people who needs like a more.
I wish I
like
had
a
my
visual
tuning
effect.
forks
No,
with me.
I think you explained it perfectly.
Yeah.
And that's so good. I'm gonna have to use that to explain
Please
it.
do. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
speaking of books, I want to transition. You brought a couple books over here today.
I did.
So tell us about it. What are these books?
I love books.
Yep.
I can't read enough. And I think that they're a great way for people to connect and understand all of the different things that I do. So
Yeah, I would say words have frequency.
they do, absolutely, right?
Oh yeah.
So that's actually been proven in water. So there's an amazing, so it started, I forget the original person's name, but he did a study on water. And now Veda Austin is the new lady who's developing a whole language of water. So she'll freeze water and images will come out in water through words that she's put on the plate and stuff like that. So they do.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's a little out there.
I know.
It's a little out there, but I would love to see it.
Veda Austin, check it out.
Okay.
Yeah, put it in the links.
Oh yeah, put it in the links. We'll have plenty.
So here we go. This is one of the first books called The Body is Electric. And I love it because he talks a lot about the body being direct current. And that's the current that is microcurrent and all the current that I feel is the most healing to the body. We used to have like tens units, and everybody's like, oh, is this a tens unit? And it's absolutely not. Anything that I use is not tens. It's classified as tens, but it's not. So tens is alternating current. So it goes up and down, and it confuses the muscle into relaxation. Direct current, which is explained in this book, is the language of our body. And it's the language of our nervous system. It's one direction. So that gets explained in here.
Yeah, so direct current, I sent you a post like
I
very
know,
recently.
it was really cool.
It was a device someone was using, and he was going through the meridians, which
I'm becoming obsessed with.
Yeah, and I mean, in the Western world, we don't know anything about meridians. It's just not something we're taught in school. It's a word that we don't even use, but we go to the acupuncture world. That is how they operate. And it's been around for thousands of years. And when it works, it really does work.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I guess my point is there's so much we don't know, but I think understanding frequencies and understanding that aspect can allow us to get a little bit further to understanding how acupuncture actually helps the body heal in many different ways.
Right. Yeah. You're turning the body on at a cellular level, and the needles are like a message, like, hey, or like turn up or turn down, depending on what the meridian is doing, right? And so what I find when I'm working on people, I'm either doing body work or I'm doing electrical stim work. And what I find is that my hands will go directly to the meridian or the acupressure point that's not well.
Right.
That's out of balance.
Yeah, and I feel like you have intuitive sense for that just because of how often you've been doing it and how many people that you work with, that you sort of kind of know your way around the body.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I see that to be true for a lot of body workers who
A
they
lot.
just know, they just hit the spot. Yeah, I'm sure maybe some of you have experienced this. You go to a good massage therapist, they just hit the spot and you're like, how do you know it's there?
Right. Right. Exactly. The
Yeah.
amount of how do I know? How did you know it was there? I get every time. It's kind of fun. Yeah.
Cool,
Yeah.
so that's this book.
That's this one. This is another one of my favorite books because it was written by a woman PhD. It's an older book, but it's called The Molecules of Emotions.
Okay.
And she does something that I really love, which is make science really understandable. So she completely makes it easy. She used to be a public speaker, and she talks a lot about how the science world is like slow to take on new ideas and to accept new ideologies, and how it has to be proven over and over again. And so she kind of left that a little bit and started public speaking more, and just talking a lot about the emotional body, which is also like really and super important in the work that I do.
Tell me more about that, the
Yeah.
emotional body.
Yeah, so in the final book, which I don't have on paperback, is called The Body Keeps the Score.
That's a great book.
Oh, good.
That's a great
Yeah,
book, yeah.
isn't it great? Yeah, yeah. So when you hurt yourself or when you get injured, the body goes into a protective mode. And also in Chinese medicine, the organs have different emotions correlated to them. So I'll be working on someone a lot, and all of a sudden I'll feel like I have shortness of breath, like I can't breathe. And I'm like, oh my God, are you like anxious about something? Like, what's going on? And it's their body like keeping the score, keeping the emotion intact to keep them safe, even when that danger is no longer there.
Yeah, I love that because that's how we look at the body too. Like when you injured a joint, a body part, the body will respond by protecting it, making things tighter.
Yeah.
And that tightness, that protective mechanism may not go away even after the injury heals. And that follows up with some of the emotional charges along with that. It's, oh my God, why am I always feeling tight this way? Why am I always feeling in pain? And we have to really undo those compensations at the physical level. And a lot of times when we undo those compensations at the physical level, we see something opening up in the emotional level too.
Oh, undeniable.
Yeah, like when we're working with you with your shoulder, and I remember we did some things and we freed up your range of motion.
Yeah.
And you felt this like emotional like release almost, and I was like, oh, that's super cool to see.
Yeah. Release. And then I like didn't want to like mess that up, and I just stayed in it for the rest of the day. I didn't turn on stimulation, music, or go anywhere. I was like, I want to savor this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Right.
Yeah, so I totally believe in this, the molecules of emotions and how the body keeps a score.
Yeah.
So what are you doing with this knowledge in particular?
So it has helped me a lot to help people understand that when I'm working with them, and it taught me a lot about cells. So I'm getting really interested in the way that the cells work in our body, and that's how the electrical stimulation is really working and why it's so effective. It's because you're going to the root of where the message is being delivered incorrectly. So if a cell is stressed out, it will replicate itself in a distressed way, in the incorrect way. And then these little ligands that float around in our body can't attach to the cell and make the proteins anymore that are correct and or healing and or healthy and or well. So what the current is doing, because we're mostly water, is sending this message through water, because water conducts electricity. And it's saying, hey, don't make that incorrect message anymore. This is the correct one. And it goes, and your cells go, oh my God, thanks. I forgot that's what it was. Thanks for correcting me.
Yeah.
And then it like arranges itself and starts kicking out the ATP and making things well again.
Right, so the way I'm looking at it, as you explaining this to me, is like we're changing compensation patterns in the physical body.
Yeah.
But what the electricity is doing is almost changing the compensation patterns in the cellular level.
Yes, exactly.
I love it.
It's kind of cool. The layers. It's all the layers.
It's all the layers. And at the end of the day, it's like I come across it so often. It's like everyone who's into these processes to help people, feel better or reset, they're all doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So you're just finding a way for the body to feel safe. And whether we're doing it physically or you're doing it through the cellular level, through lights, through sound, or through electricity, it's all the same.
Yeah, and it's also layering because like you can help people with their physical movement patterns. I can help people with like the tissue, the cellular stuff, and sometimes the emotional stuff too. And so we need each other.
Oh yeah.
It's not just a one and all. Like what I do isn't going to heal everything or support everything.
Yeah.
So.
Like you can heal things on a cellular level, but if the movement patterns aren't corrected, it'll just continue to stuck in that cycle.
Right.
Or we can change those movement patterns, but if those tissues actually needs to heal, well, it's going to revert back to those old patterns. So for us to really make these big changes, we really do need to have this more holistic view
100%.
of how everything is intertwined and working together.
Absolutely. And then like, how are you eating and how are you living, right? And how are you thinking?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of, hey, what is the best path to interject, right? Is it through the movement or is it through frequencies?
Right. And I don't think there is a best path. I think it's a combination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you do it all, I think that would be, oh yeah, that'd be the
magic.
best.
That's magic. Right. That's a superhuman.
Yeah. Now you brought something that looks like an alarm.
It does.
What is this thing?
It's hilarious because I take this to the gym with me all the time.
And so why are you bringing a fire alarm?
I know, right? So this is a mag Healy, and this is where it gets super technical and confusing because this is electrical microcurrent. You can see there's an electrode there. You can see it's attached to me. You can see it's going into my body through electricity. And this is using magnets. There's magnets on the inside. So another form of delivering current to the body is through pulsed electromagnetic frequency, PEMF.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's good stuff. And
yeah,
so
I've been hearing more about the PEMF even in the sports world. I think the world's
huge.
waking up to it now.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm always light years ahead. Ha ha ha. So this one, people ask me, why do I need this if I have this and why? So this one is awesome because it sets frequencies into the environment. Now, I didn't turn it on because I have this running and I tend to be very sensitive to frequency. So if I had this on and this on, for me, it's a lot. For some clients, they'll use both of them at the same time and love it. And I'm like, you're a savage. That's great. Good for you. But this will send frequencies into a room. So I will turn it on low and I will turn it on to send supportive frequencies to my plants. And you've seen my plants. They're bonkers.
Oh, yeah.
It's like...
Great. I wish our plants look a little... They're not bad, but they could definitely be a bit healthier.
PEMF, right?
Yep, they could use a little...
Yeah. So what was really cool was I turned it up to 100% one time and I left it and I left the house and I came back and my plants were not happy. They were actually like a little stressed out. It was too much. It was too much for them. So now I never put it up past 30% for them and they're fine.
You know, I think that would be a cool experiment to do with plants and see the type of frequency they respond best to, controlling the rest of the, light environment and everything else.
Right.
I saw this one clip a while ago. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. I think it's a plant they're growing, and then the experiment was that you would say bad things to it with ill intentions versus you would say more things with positive intentions to the plant, and they see how it grows, and you can predict that the plant who was spoken to in a better way grew much more beautifully. Yeah. So what's your take on that? For me, that was like super cool.
Right? It's pretty easy. It's the water. Like we're mostly water, and water is a great copier. And so if you're talking negatively to the water that's in this plant, like you're giving it the wrong information. And so if you're talking positively to it, it's going to grow and it's going to be stronger. And this actually charges your water because every time you come see me,
that's right.
I charge it with heart opening frequencies for opening your heart so that you can get more out of the session, so that you can be more open and more relaxed. Yeah.
So that's why. 'Cause I saw this last time. I saw this. You had this on top of the two waters for me and my wife. Yeah. So now I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just some of the ways, right? The frequencies that I've used through this is and through Carolyn McMakin. There's also a few sets of that on here. So it's a sort of a cheat way to use frequency-specific microcurrent without having to use wet towels. So usually when I work with people, I put wet towels on them and I clip the microcurrent onto them so that the messages of the microcurrent can go into the body through the wet towels. But this is also a cute little cheat way not to have to do that.
Right.
And then I take it to the gym with me because I set it to the frequencies for making the environment more conducive to working out. And that's why people are always like, why do you have that?
Right.
And I'm like, I'm a weirdo.
You just got to accept it.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to ask one last question, which is, through our conversation, I feel like this word is popping into my head. It's like manifestation. Like, tell me, what's your take on that?
Oh, I love it. I love it because I've been doing a 30-day meditation challenge, and my teacher, Dr. Joe, talks a lot about manifestation. And so I would say that the biggest thing with manifestation is that you have to give up looking for the how it's going to show up. Like if you have a desire in your heart and you want to manifest something, you have to feel the frequency of it already having been happening, and then you got to let it go. It's none of your business how it shows up.
That's super valuable. I love that. I love that. So it's more just put yourself into the place, into the headspace or the frequency of having already accomplished what you want to manifest.
Yeah.
And then just let go.
And then just let go. Because the moment you're like, where is it? You're pointing to the fact that it's not there.
Exactly. That's powerful. So it's like making it a goal is almost making it so it doesn't happen, because you making it a goal presumes that you don't already have it.
No, well, let's fine tune that just a little
Okay.
bit. Make the goal and live as if the goal has already happened.
Right, and that's
And then
manifestation.
step back and just know it's gonna come. But we still live in a 3D world, so we're still doing the things to get there.
Yeah. I mean, you can't just lay back and
Right.
expect it. We call that delusion.
Right, exactly.
Don't be delusional. All right.
Yeah.
Well, this been terrific. I learned a lot, even though I've been working with you for the last couple months with my wife.
Yeah.
I'm still learning so much just from having this conversation.
Yeah.
So, first of all, if people want to find out more about you, how can they do that?
So my website is the Lite Guide, but I spell it Lite. So it's the liteguide.com. And there's booking. You can book your sessions on there. 2-hour session is what I recommend for any first timer. It gives me a chance to get to know them, to write everything down, and to figure out what combination of cool technology I'm going to use.
And I know you work with groups of people too, not just one person, but 2, 3, maybe sometimes even 4 people at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love working with couples, as you know. And I love when couples come in and curating the session to them. Yeah.
And I would just say firsthand, after working with Claudia every Sunday, every other Sunday, we're going for it, I would always leave feeling just different. Like some days I would go in and say, Claudia, I want to tap into more creativity, and that's how I make my content. And I would say things are going pretty good right now as far as how things are running with my creativity and ability to kind of put words together.
Wow.
So yeah, thank you for all of that.
Oh, thank you for trusting and coming. Yeah.
And thank you for today. It has been an absolute gift.
Yeah.
And can't wait to have you back.
Okay.
Yeah.